Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome to another Eternal Top Decks video. Today I figured it's time to finally update SkycragDeckWins since the very first version that I released after Set 2 came out. We had a bunch of changes since then, nerfs, buffs, and an entire new adventure that also provided a really nice new card for the deck. So let's dive right in. So I still try to keep this deck as low to the ground and aggressive as possible. Stick to like 25 power only, which is why the curve tops out at a few situational 4-cost cards. No actual, not even any actual 4-drops that you need to be playing on turn 4, for example, for maximum efficiency. So let's take a look. There's still 12 1-drops as before, for Oni Ronin, for Pyroknight, for Snowcrust Yeti. They are the 3 premium 1-drops in the color combination. If there was another really good one, I would not mind to go up to say like 14, for example, to make it a bit more consistent at playing a 1-drop turn 1 all the time, and also at the same time more capable of going triple 1-drop, like turn 1 1-drop, turn 2 double 1-drop for maximum tempo, maximum speed. Then we have the 2-drops for Outlaw and for Champion of Fury. They're pretty standard. What I have, what not a lot of people have, is Borderlands Waykeeper. I think I was initially Keys Watabayashi that kind of turned me on to reconsidering Borderlands Waykeeper by using it in his deck, and I mainly like it for its synergy with Shogun Scepter. It's like another nice Aegis unit and a good carrier for Scepter. The evasion can come in handily, and it's also a really nice blocker in aggro mirrors. Just does a bunch of really nice things, and I always kind of wanted more than 8 2-drops, like 10, to have something on turn 2 more reliably, because I had a fair share of games, more than I would like, without having a proper play turn 2. And yeah, I don't really like the ornate katana other people are playing. Tried the card a fair share, and it's just too overcosted for what it does, I felt, and there's just not enough targets where it really does enough, because it's pretty bad on the 1-drops, mostly only like impactful on the quick draw units, which are like 8, so not really psyched about this. Also, if you don't have a unit in play, it's like if you don't have a 1-drop, it's not going to be a 2-drop, and even if you have a 1-drop, most of the time it's going to be an irrelevant 2-drop that the opponent's just going to trade with anyway. So yeah, Waykeeper has been doing pretty solid, and also is kind of a nice Warcry target, since it can gain flying and then pressure in the air when you're stalled out. Then we have one of the awesome new toys, Cinder Yeti. Card is amazing, provides the deck with some more card advantage staying power thanks to Warp, and the summon effect of exhausting an enemy unit generates quite a lot of tempo and momentum, potentially by just exhausting their first good blocker the turn it comes down, and just get in for another full swing, and then putting them so far behind that they either die to burn or just to an alpha strike, because they can't stabilize anymore. So this card is really powerful, and the Overwhelm also works nice with the Warcry in the deck and so on. Then we still have the 4 Shogun Scepter, because the Warcry core of 4 Oni Ronin, 4 Outlaw, and 4 Scepter, in my opinion, are part of what makes this deck as strong as it is, and it as hard as it does. And yeah, the deck also is exceptionally good at using Scepter thanks to all the Aegis units and generally having a lot of cheap units and some quick draw units, especially good on Vadius, of course. And also it's a pseudo 2-for-1 in the sense that it makes one of our units better in combat and provides another Oni, and also generates a lot of war cries quickly. Then we have Vadius that I already mentioned. Since yeah, this is one of the powerhouse cards of the faction alliance, of the Skycrag alliance, and yeah, it's just really annoying, hard to deal with, hard to block if protected by burn or weapons or even tricks. And if you ever like have a longer game and flood out, the ultimate can also become really powerful. It matters more than you would think, even in a deck with 25 power. So yeah, that is basically all the weapons and units. And then there's like all the removal interaction basically. I currently opted to run 0 tricks. I was initially skeptical of this approach, and this is partially like thanks to Ahorn Dolphin from my team, who was pushing for a more burn-heavy approach. Let's take a look. We have 4 Permafrost, pretty standard, just hyper-efficient answer to anything that doesn't have Endurance or Aegis. 4 Torch, just one of the best cards in the game, and probably the best removal spell in the game. Super efficient at dealing with opposing units at a very cheap rate, or just finishing off opponents or stopping relic weapons. Then we have 4 Rockslide. This card ranges from incredible to mediocre, but overall it's still always kind of helpful. It synergizes with the quick draw units or even with the other units to finish off stuff. Can get rid of multiple annoying small blockers like Temple Scribes, Initiates, Wisps, Dawnwalkers, Amber Acolytes, all these units. Grenadins against other red decks, or just multiple 1-drops in aggro mirrors. Just does a lot of things. Still stops some of the relic weapons, and can just help to finish off an opponent that is about to stabilize on a low health. And it's just pretty versatile and has the potential to be really powerful and generate strong tempo and card advantage swings occasionally. And last but not least, we have 4 Mortar, now that Flame Blast is basically too bad to run. This card's a bit underwhelming, but sort of just does the job. It still works as a combat trick with the quick draw units basically. One of the big upsides over something like, say, Rampage, that I considered as an alternative, is that a Vadius plus a Mortar beat a Tavrod, which is pretty important right now. And it also can go to the dome and just win games off the top when you basically already have lost on the board and your opponent is trying to kill you as fast as possible, and then top decking this can mean the difference between winning and losing. So so far I have been surprisingly impressed by this mono burn approach, especially given that the burn spells are combat tricks as much as actual combat tricks with the quick draw units, and that the combat tricks available mostly only work in very few situations without quick draw, without your unit still dying anyways. So yeah, it looks quite clunky given that like Mortar costs 4 and everything, but it like plays out less clunky than it looks in reality, because this is usually like the last card of the game that you play, and then it doesn't really matter as much how much it costs in this deck. Sometimes it can be clunky for sure, but it has its own up and downsides. And if you're not like super sure on Mortar, you could try 4 Rampage in place of 4 Mortar. I tried both. I'm leaning more towards Mortar, but I'm not 100% sure right now, since Rampage is basically 3 damage for 2 power, and better as a combat trick in the sense that it's much cheaper, but also more situational. Like if you can't attack to get the 3 damage in with the Rampage, it's not going to finish off your opponent, where Mortar always finishes off your opponent. And I felt like with Cinder Yeti, making it easier to push damage aggressively, having more burn makes more sense, and makes it easier to get the opponent low with Alpha Strikes and Cinder Yeti attacks, Cinder Yeti triggers basically, and then finishing them off with a mix of Torches, Rockslides and Mortars. So yeah, that's the deck list. Deck feels pretty good, like feels about as good as Skycrag can right now. I wouldn't say Skycrag is the deck to play right now, but it's definitely a good deck and one of the best aggro options, if not the best aggro option right now. So if you're looking to play an aggro deck right now, this is definitely one that I can recommend. And it also looks like it's one of the aggro deck, one of the better positioned aggro decks against Ardent midrange and Armory, for example. Alright, that's it for the deck list. As usual, gonna hop into some games to see how it does in action and show you a bit how it plays out and how to pilot it. Alright, stay tuned for the first half of the games coming up in a moment. Thanks for watching.